Coach Coleman.
Hey, don't forget to check me out every Tuesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. right here on the Crossover for freestyle.
And then I'm also live every single weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the Brunch Rush. Crossover Radio.
Radio with a purpose.
Razorback Lawn and Tree Care has you covered for all of your outdoor needs. We offer affordable landscaping, tree trimming and removal, as well as regular lawn care. Call us today at 405-202-5140 and let us help you go hog wild over your yard. Man, I tell you what, I was hanging out with Robbie Allen today, and he ran out of Grounds for Compassion coffee. Robbie, what was it like to run out of Grounds for Compassion?
That was the most humiliating experience of my life.
And Robbie, with Grounds for Compassion, we feel it's probably the best coffee in the world, wouldn't you say?
Very impressive.
You mean in the world, right?
Yes, sir.
And when other people tell you that Grounds for Compassion isn't as good as their coffee, what do you tell them?
Beg pardon?
So it sounds to me like you're going to need a little bit more Grounds for Compassion since you ran out there, Robbie.
Don't we all?
So if you want to order any Grounds for Compassion coffee, check them out at g4c.coffee. That's g4c.coffee. Hey, Robbie, shouldn't you be writing this down?
Photographic memory.
Well, that's good to know, Robbie. Hey, I tell you what, check out Grounds for Compassion. Again, that website, g4c.coffee. Grounds for Compassion. Coffee with conviction.
Well, we may be a little bit late, about 15 minutes after the hour, but yes, the overtime with DB and
Big Nate
is back on track. Apologize for that late start tonight.
It's not our fault.
It might be, but we're definitely going to find something to blame it on. But anyway, welcome to Crossover Radio, Radio with a Purpose. You are live and in color at Crossover Radio Central. You should be seeing us live on Facebook. So if you have Facebook up, you can see Nate and I's beautiful mug. Well, at least mine anyway. I don't know about Nate's. And if you're listening on the Crossover Radio app, which you can get by downloading on your iPad or your iPhone or your Android or your tablet or whatever you kids do these days, or you can go to crossoverradio.org. Either way, you can listen or watch the OT. So tonight, the OT is running behind schedule, which almost certainly will run into overtime tonight, like we always do. Thankfully, Nate, there isn't anybody to follow us.
That's right. We run the asylum right now. So.
Yeah, we not only run the show, we are the show. So anyway, Nate, big show tonight. I'm going to have just a unique guest with us. He's going to come up here in just a little bit after our first segment. It's Terry Perkins. He's the 1998. Yep, 1998 NASA. That's Natural Athlete Strength Association, not the Space Organization.
That would be cool.
Overall Athlete of the Year, and also Powerlifting Hall of Famer. And he will be. And he is, by the way, not in studio because if he was, we would not have any money left because they'd had to fly him out to get in here and see his mug. But anyway. He is on the radio through television. No, I'm sorry, through radio.
Telephone.
Through telephone. I can't get my lingo straight tonight. He is on the telephone, and he will be coming up shortly. We're going to have an interview with him, and Terry and I go way back, Nate, way back. That's
is that how far back is it?
It's a way back there, way back there. But anyway, he'll be coming up in our second segment. But before we do that, we got to talk about the college basketball.
Yes. I am sitting pretty on top of my bracket right now.
So you had two teams in?
I do. I have two teams in.
And those two teams are?
Michigan and Kansas.
And I have two teams in, which are Michigan and Villanova.
Ooh.
Nice. Now, who do you have winning it?
I have Kansas winning it all.
So I have Michigan winning it all. So,
okay. Ooh.
So it's going to get interesting between you and I, Nate.
Yeah.
Good.
So either my team takes out one of yours or your team.
See, Kansas plays who?
Because who do you have winning it all?
I have Michigan win it all.
Okay, yeah. So it's Michigan playing Loyola Chicago, the Cinderella team.
Yep.
And then Nova's playing Kansas, which they're both number one teams.
So we could very well end up without a team
Yeah, very easily. But I think this is the first time a number 11 seed has been to the final.
Butler. Butler had played the national championship.
Were they? I thought they were 9.
I might have been. We'd have to go back.
Yeah.
So, are you saying? Seemed like there's been a 9 or 11 seed in the Final Four before, but maybe wrong.
It may have been.
We have to Google it later. Go ahead and Google it up, as Bob Stoops would say.
That's right. Just Google it up.
So I still haven't watched the whole game yet. I did watch the end, sorta.
Yeah.
Of the Michigan. The Kansas
that
Duke
was
game yesterday.
Great.
Yeah. I would have not been happy if Duke would have won because I'm just not a. You know me and Blue Bloods. I'm not a big fan. And I know Kansas is kind of considered that way. But did you know, by the way, that Kansas lost twice to Oklahoma State this year on their home floor?
I was about to ask, who did they lose to?
And twice, and once on their home floor.
And they're dancing.
And they didn't even. And Oklahoma State didn't even make the tournament.
Well, I was talking to somebody about that. One of my niece her husband is a Oklahoma State fan. And so when we got together this Sunday for family brunch, it came up. And I was telling him, I said, look, the only way you guys could have made a statement was to win that NIT.
Yeah,
if you would have won the NIT, I know, but it would have been, at least you could have came out of that saying, see, we deserve to be there. But the fact that they lost, and
I don't care. They still should have been there. I had never made this. Well, I might have, that it was them against OU kind of thing. But my whole point is the only reason OU was in there was because of Trae Young.
And look at what they're happening to him now.
Yeah,
everybody's jumping ship. They had another guard leave today.
OU?
Yeah. He's asked for his transfer.
Yeah, they could.
Who's their other guard?
I really like
McGusty. He's leaving. Cameron McGusty. He's taking off.
I don't even know who he is. That's how much I keep on track of.
He was one of the other guards. I think he was a buddy of Trey's.
So, who's the coach? I'm going blank.
Kruger.
Lon Kruger. I'm a big fan. Loved him when he played at K-State. Loved him as a coach. I still like him.
Yeah.
But, he's got to be under a little bit of fire.
Oh.
Got to be.
I don't know. I think the fact that he got Trae Young there in the first place is a big saving grace for him. Nobody expected him. I didn't. I didn't expect him to sign because you could see in high school this kid was all about the attention.
Yeah.
And so the only reason I saw him coming to OU is he wanted to, be the man at OU, which he was.
He was. He also predicted they was going to win a national championship too while he was still in high school.
He couldn't even do anything. So
whatever.
Yeah. Good luck in the next league.
So Nate, do we have a date on the NFL draft? Because I'm starting to get itchy.
Oh man.
Do we have a date?
I could find it. I don't know what it is right now, but yeah, I'm all I'm all caught up in the free agency trades right now.
Yeah,
that's what's got me all. Oh man,
I'm ready for the draft though.
My Browns are doing some work.
Yeah, well, the other guy on the phone today is a Browns fan too, so maybe you guys can have a 22-second conversation. That's going to play out for you this year. But anyway,
oh my goodness, that's not even nice.
I'm just saying.
Well, your Cowboys are headed that direction. They keep it up.
But I've told you that's going to happen too, hadn't I?
Yes.
I have told you. All my Dallas Cowboy brothers out there keep getting madder and madder at me because I predicted this.
Truth hurts.
I predicted this about 5 years ago. This was going to lead to this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like somebody was saying. We were talking yesterday with a group of people. And I think the whole conversation got brought up on the improvement that OSU's made with their new basketball coach. And I said, well, they had some really good victories this year.
Yeah.
But give me results. Give me results. You didn't have any more wins. You weren't in the NCAA tournament like you were last year. So how can you in moral victory wise? Yes, but when it's all said and done, did you make the NCAA tournament? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, and are you on paper any better?
Ooh, see, I'd
than
say
last
yes.
year?
I would say yes.
I would say.
Are you looking at just pure numbers, or?
Well, you lost your number one guy.
Yeah.
To the NBA, so I don't know.
I think they look better.
Maybe
they got more attention.
I don't think they did.
I think they were.
How you figure? Because they beat Kansas.
Yeah, they beat Kansas twice.
Didn't matter though. So all I'm saying is what it's like every year. Everybody talks about how good Dallas is and how great their offensive line is.
Yeah.
But show me playoff wins. Show me getting past the first round.
Yeah.
Show me having back-to-back playoff appearances.
See what happens.
Which Jason Garrett has never done in his tenure at Dallas. He has not made the playoffs back-to-back. And you know what? We'll have to wait another 3 years to prove my point because he'll probably make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
And because his schedule will be a little lighter. And they'll get beat in the first round just like they did the last time. And they'll miss the playoff the year after that. And then here we go. He gets to keep his job. It's that vicious cycle. Make playoffs one year, you're 8-8, 9-7 next year, you miss the playoffs.
Hey,
or somebody gets hurt.
I would rather have the record
suspended.
of the Dallas Cowboys than the record of the Browns over the last 10 years any day.
You can say that, but over the last 10 years,
Yeah.
Isn't that much better, Bubby?
Well, I beg to differ.
Well, at least they're not 0-16.
When's the last time the Browns went to the playoffs?
Well, I give you that, but there is a little bit higher standard in Dallas than there is in
Of
Cleveland.
course there is, but you want to talk about a blue? Well, I guess it was until they stole them away in the night to. Don't even get me
Baltimore.
started on that.
Yeah, that was a
Okay.
fiasco. All right, well, you know what?
This has been Dan and Nate's gripe session.
Yeah, I guess. So we're gonna break here in a second. Before we do, any changes to your Final Four? You still had who?
Oh, I'm keeping.
You say Kansas winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm saying Michigan's gonna win the whole thing. So
I'm concerned that they're going to get past Loyola. Seriously.
Michigan?
Yeah, I'm concerned.
Oh, whatever. Did you see
concerned.
Michigan?
Have you seen all their games?
No.
They've
Haven't seen any of them.
been slim. They've been slim pickings. I mean, they were tight.
They
haven't dominated, but I think the last one, and that wasn't even really a domination.
So right now, who's the best team in the Final Four?
Kansas, man, they're
Think so?
hot. Kansas
Just
is
right
hot.
now, you think so?
Yes.
Yeah. Again,
Kansas.
I saw the last-
Kansas or Nova. So
I saw the
Nova's
last
just been consistent.
minute and a half of regulation, and I saw the last probably minute and a half of overtime
Yeah.
yesterday, and that's it. So, and then only because I saw that is because I had some people over at the house that wanted to see it, so I turned it on. Otherwise, I wouldn't even had it on. I'm boycotting. I'm telling you, it's coming.
I know.
It's almost a total sports boycott.
Well,
so-
it'd be kind of hard to do our show then.
Well, it would. We're changing it up. All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce Terry Perkins. He's on the phone and not on television, like I tried to say he was earlier. Thank goodness. But we'll be back with you after a quick timeout. Crossover Radio with the Purpose. You're on the OT with DB and
Big Nate.
Be back in a moment.
Go home, go home, go home, go home, go home, go home.
City Life Community Church is the proud home of Crossover Radio. We are located at 6634 Northwest 36th Street, right here in the heart of Bethany. You can join us for worship at 11 a.m. each Sunday, and if you can't make it, you can hear us right here on Crossover Radio. You can also join us for worship and prayer each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. City Life exists to glorify God by making disciples and doing good in Jesus' name. We are here for Bethany and for the Northwest Oklahoma City communities. We're excited about the opportunity to serve you and your family.
Are you a local business or ministry? Are you looking to advertise on a station that's passionate about your community and safe for the whole family? Crossover Radio is currently seeking like-minded partners to help support their cause while we support yours. From commercial packages, show branding, and live remotes, we have what your business needs to get to the next level. Our mission is to bring impacting content through a Christian worldview, and we need your support. All donations made to Crossover Radio are 100% tax deductible, so why wait? Call us today at 405-494-0234. Again, that number is 405-494-0234. Crossover Radio. Radio with a purpose.
Hi, this is Kelly, and I'm the Creative Director at West Metro Community Church. At West Metro, we hold strong to our core values of Jesus, mercy, family, and authenticity. I would like to personally invite you to join us at West Metro this Sunday morning at 10:45 for worship. You can get more information about us on our website at westmetro.org or find us on Facebook. We are located at 601 West Main Street in Yukon. Come join us and I'll save you a seat.
And you're back on Crossover Radio, radio with a purpose. This is the OT with DB and
Big Nate.
And you are live at Crossover Radio Central right here in Bethany, Oklahoma. I had to get my bearings straight on where I was. And when we went to the break, I was telling you about our very special guest. And I'm going to take a minute here to introduce him because Terry and I go back a long way. I have a little partiality to Terry, but it wasn't always that way. And I've told Terry this story many times, and as I've talked about him and had to introduce him at certain things. I started doing powerlifting meets as a living, believe it or not, and not much of one, but I did make a living at it back in 1990. And I came upon, and we'd been on almost all over the country by the time that I met Terry. And we did a meet in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, which is a suburb right outside of Cincinnati. And I can't remember. Oh yeah, now I do. The Drawbridge Inn in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, and there was a meet, about 100 and so lifters there. And here comes walking up to the platform this 148-pounder from Columbus, Ohio, or actually outside of Columbus, Ohio, opening a squat up at like 550 pounds. And NASA was still is, and was known as a drug-free, steroid-free, drug-tested organization. And I saw Terry Perkins' thighs and saw him open it up with 550 pounds, and I said to myself and to my loading partner when we were loading on it, there's no way this guy is steroid free, because he was squatting so much weight. And the only reason I know that, or I could attest to it, is because I was a 148 pounder and I wasn't squatting 550 pounds, so he had to be taking something. And so anyway, I made sure the random drug testing selected his name, because by gosh, I'm going to test him. And so, and I was one of the people that was testing him, and I can't tell you in any amount of words how humble and how nice a guy Terry was. And I'm almost embarrassed to this day, and I still tell this story, that I ever thought for a second that he could be taking any kind of a performance-enhancing drugs. And never, without saying, obviously passed the drug test, and about 24 others he's taken in the last 30 years. He's always tested drug-free. And I always say this about every time I tell this story. If I knew the man before I tested him, I never would have accused him of that. But it was just probably my own insecurities that kind of taught me a lesson that day. But anyway, my good friend outside of Columbus, Ohio, I'll let him tell you exactly where he's from, Mr. Terry Perkins. Terry, welcome to the show.
Hey, Danny, thank you.
So, Terry, now tell me, you're in, which town are you in now? I know you were raised around...
Granville.
Granville, right?
Granville, Ohio, yes.
Which is how far outside of Columbus?
Probably 25 miles.
Yep. 25 miles,
just a little Denison University.
What is it? Denison
University.
Yep. So I don't, I'm trying to keep from Nate getting all warm and fuzzy here, because Nate's from Ohio as well, and you guys share a common passion.
The Buckeyes?
Yeah, he's a Buckeye.
Oh yeah.
So, guys, I told both of them I have some Buckeye jokes if you start getting out of control, and I will stoop to use them if I have to. So,
oh, come on, you don't have to stoop that low.
But
now,
Terry,
remember, Danny, you got Zeke on the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, look where that's got us.
Well, yeah.
So, Terry, tell us, what, and you got to remember, Terry's, I'm probably going to cut Terry off a lot, because he and I have run together over the last 30 years, or pretty much the last 30 years, and he and I are about the same height and weight, and so we can get away with saying this.
Tall, very tall.
Yeah, we're vertically challenged, I guess is the word. Or is it horizontally challenged? Which one is it? I always get confused. Yeah, it's vertically challenged. So anyway, but So Terry, tell us about your athletic career in high school, because not being very big. I mean, you were probably somewhat challenged, but you were involved in sports, correct?
Yes, I played football and wrestled.
And he wrestled.
And I started my sophomore year as defensive nose guard.
Are you kidding?
For our high school.
And
no.
How big were you?
Well, on the roster, 5'6", 155 pounds.
You ain't been 5'6" a day in your life.
In reality, probably 5'3", 5'4", 130 pounds.
Yeah, you were small. Yeah. So
yeah, I wrestled 119. So if that tells you anything.
Oh my gosh!
All 4 years.
Terry comes from a line of weight pullers, as we like to say in powerlifting, where you pull weight to make weight, and also did it in wrestling, because if he weighed 135 in football, he certainly had to lose weight to make the scales in wrestling. So
yes, and still doing it for powerlifting.
Yep, exactly. So I take it that there wasn't a long line of NCAA schools lined up to sign Terry Perkins to play college football.
No, that was my dream, and my mentor was Archie Griffin, and I thought if he could do it, I could do it, but he had a little more talent than I did.
Yep, Archie Griffin, the only two-time Heisman Trophy winner in the history of college football, correct?
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yep. Okay, yeah. Nate's got to say that's correct. Don't miss out on that. So what got you started in powerlifting?
Well, that was probably it. I couldn't go on to college and play football, so I joined a gym that had a racket center and a weight room, and played racquetball for a year and a half and worked out. And Larry Miller.
Absolutely.
And me and him entered a powerlifting contest. Matter of fact, the first one was at the Ohio State University. And I think I squatted 475, benched 275, and deadlifted 475.
And what weight class were you there?
148.
148.
Yeah.
So,
matter of fact, Danny, about our height, they couldn't get the rack low enough for me, so I had to get up on my toes to get the squat bar out of the rack.
Man, talk about some faulty equipment.
That's strength right there.
Yeah.
So what year was that, Terry?
Probably 85, 86, somewhere around in there.
So started your career there, and Terry was one of the very first. And there's not very many of them. They'll say there's 100 plus, but there wasn't that many lifters in the very first NASA. Well, it really wasn't NASA at that time. Natural Nationals, which is the copyright to NASA now, but it was called Natural Nationals. Terry lifted in that very first one. I believe it was in Kansas City, was it not, Terry?
Yeah. Yep.
And how did you fare in that meet?
I ended up winning it, and I think I got outstanding lifter.
So a lot of times, when I'm talking about Terry, and I probably am his biggest fan, and probably I have a lot to do with his public relations from time to time, but I want him to get the credit. But Terry's one of the very few lifters in any organization that has accomplished outstanding lifter and set American records and world records and won national championships. And I want to say 5 different decades. I mean, if you talk the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. Is that 4 decades or 5? I've lost count. But anyway, there's a bunch.
A long time.
Yeah. And a variety of different weight classes as well, because you've done it in the 148s, and you won 65s and 181s, and I think you even had a stint in the 198s. And
No.
Never got that heavy?
No 98.
But,
well, I've gotten that heavy, but I've never lifted that heavy. They have to roll me onto the platform.
Hey, careful.
That's in the weight.
At 5'3", 198 isn't good.
Yeah. Oh, now he's shrunk. He's 5'3".
No. Yes, I have.
I have too.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Now that you say that.
Yeah, that's called putting 500 and 600 pounds and 700 in your case on your back all these years. But just kind of give you a little bit of background on Terry. He he won multitudes of national championships leading up to 1993. Won the 90 Natural Nationals, which was in Tonopah, Nevada. Won 91 in Oklahoma City. Missed 92, and then came back to Dallas in 93. And I'm probably still in some of the conversation with Terry, but what happened in 1993 meet there that, Terry, you weren't used to doing? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Well, you lost your first nationals.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
See, he phased all that stuff out. Around that time is when Terry hadn't completely trusted me yet to coach him, but I was definitely advising him about that around that time, 1993. Yeah. And then 94 kind of gives me a little bit more control of the reins in coaching him, and didn't really help a whole lot because you lost that year too, but that was due to a little bit of a technicality in the last deadlift. If he doesn't get called for hitching, he wins the 94 natural nationals in Pittsburgh. So yep. And then Terry after that Terry kind of had a change of athletic careers. Nate, I know you had a question for him.
Yeah, I heard you attempted to play some soccer.
Yeah.
This was in, if I remember correctly, this was 95?
Yeah. My daughter was playing youth soccer, and, of course, I was helping coach, and all the dads decided to have a men's league after practice. So the very, 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 very first practice, I step out on the field and go to kick the soccer ball and plant with my left and go to kick, and I tear my quad off of my knee.
Oh!
So that was 15 seconds of soccer for me.
the great soccer career that it was.
Yes. I missed my calling.
Yeah, you didn't get the what is the insurance company that always writes the policies for the star?
Oh, for like your hands or your
yeah. He should have insured his quadricep for that.
There you
go. Yeah.
So
that was my soccer career.
What did the doctors tell you at that point when you tore the quad away from your knee?
They said I'd never lift again.
Yep.
So like I said, first year I probably didn't do much of anything. And then as the second year rolled around, I started playing a little bit and decided that it felt good enough to start lifting again, and I've been lifting ever since.
You have been. And,
that's awesome.
Yep. He made his comeback meet. I remember it as it was yesterday, a little over 21 years ago. World Cup 1997, Oklahoma City. He probably, in fact, I can tell you for a fact that he wasn't back to the 100% Terry Perkins that we knew him at, but you did actually win that meet. And then in 1998, Terry wins the overall athlete of the year, which is quite an accomplishment. And I know that was kind of a big moment. Tell our listeners out there how what it means to win that award and what you have to do to get it.
Well, it's more of helping the sport overall more than it is lifting, and being a part of NASA's family and just contributing to everything you can to make it a better sport, I would say.
Yeah, one of the unique things about Terry is he'll show up early for a meet. He'll show up the day before, the day of, and he'll spend his entire afternoon unloading all the equipment off of a trailer. And most of the time, these big meets, there's two trailers of equipment to unload, setting platforms up, loading weights in, and he's still got to lift the next day. Which is, there's not too many lifters out there, especially of Terry's status. And there's a handful, I will say that, but there's not very many that will go to that kind of physical challenges and still end up lifting the next day. Now, I always think Terry did it so he could make weight, but
there's a little bit of truth to that.
I can remember him weighing in for that that meet, he came back at 97, and I'm asking him what his weight is, and he says, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine." And he gets on the scale, and he's like 5 over. So
yeah.
like, I don't think your weight is fine, Terry. So I think we spent the night running around my apartment complex trying to get the weight off of him so he could make weight that night, or that next morning.
Yeah, 'cause I think that was one of the first times I jumped from either 48 or 65 to 81, and I thought, well, I won't have any trouble making weight at 81. And we got on your scale, and I'm like, 5 or 6 over, like, Danny, are your scales right? He's like, yeah. I said, give me a sweatshirt and sweatpants, and I took off running.
Actually, I think it was 48s. The weight class had changed, and 170.
Yeah.
Because you were 148.
There's no way I can be overweight.
And you're like 175 pounds.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that because I'm like, Danny, I got to go run.
Yep. But, that's just a remarkable thing, the selflessness that Terry displays. I mean, he's a class act. He never complains. He lets me do all that. So, but anyway, it's just remarkable that the things that he's endured to try to get to this level. And Terry, we're going to talk a little bit about, you're not to give away your age, but you're getting closer to, I guess I'm just going to say it, 60 years old. I mean, it's hard to believe. Closer to 60. You're certainly closer to 60. You're at 50 right now, my man. So
yes, I am.
We're going to talk about how you managed to endure the success that you've had in getting close to the age you are. We're going to take a time out. We're going to come back. We're on the line with Terry Perkins. He is the 1998 NASA Overall Athlete of the Year, and he's also a NASA Hall of Fame powerlifter. And he is my good friend, and he's here on Crossover Radio with a Purpose, and we'll be back after a quick commercial timeout.
Hey guys, it's Big J Mills. As wedding season approaches, you want to make sure that everything for your special day is perfect. Music is no exception. Well, that's where BTP Productions comes in. With over 25 years in the DJ business, BTP knows how to make a special day a memorable one. From lighting and sound packages to karaoke, BTP has you covered. And right now, to all of our Crossover Radio listeners, when you call 405-609-9980 and let us know that you heard this ad, we're going to knock $150 off your package price. So give us a call today at 405-609-9980 to book your event. Once again, that's 405-609-9980. Or check us out on Facebook at BTP Productions. The right music plus the right DJ equals BTP Productions.
Crossover Radio is the best station I have ever listened to, even over other Christian stations. They are such a blessing. God uses this radio station that God started through the DJs and everyone on there to bless us and to show us Him.
You know, sometimes in life, you just need your IQ level to shrink down to about the size of your shoe.
And that's where we come into play every Wednesday from 9 to 11 on the Dadcast.
Absolutely. You can catch us right here on Crossover Radio, the Crossover Radio app, the TuneIn Radio Network, and Facebook.com/The Crossover Radio.
And every so often on the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. Stop stealing Ford trucks. That was you, right?
Yeah, that was me. I'm sorry.
Catch the Dadcast every Wednesday, Crossover Radio.
Oh, y'all, it's Dylan Chase and DJ Squared.
Hey, it's Carrie Job, and you're listening to Crossover Radio.
What's going on? It's your boy KB. You are listening to Radio with a Purpose.
And you're back on Crossover Radio with a Purpose. You're on the OT with DB and
Big Nate.
And you are live and in color at Crossover Radio Central right here in Bethany, Oklahoma, in the Serve Coffee headquarters. And we are in the studio, the Palacio radio studios of Crossover Radio. And Nate, I know a lot of people out there have a hard time grasping this, but we're not the only show on Crossover.
No.
Nope. And actually, one of my favorite programs that I generally try to tune into as much as I possibly can is open mic, and that's Pastor Mike Keybone. He's a pastor at Cherokee Hills Baptist Church. He tackles funny stuff. On top of that is scripture and pastoral questions. He does that every Monday from 9 to 10 a.m. And this morning I think he had a different co-host this morning.
He did, I believe. Our
program director,
Philip Larson.
Yeah, and that interesting combination there.
Yeah,
to say the least. So I bet that went well.
Well, they're both pastors.
Yeah,
kind
of. They are. No, not kind of. They are. Yeah. So in fact, Philip is actually speaking at Rewired coming up the end of April at Falls Creek, the big men's event.
Did you see who else is going to be there?
Ted DiBiase.
Ted the Millionaire DiBiase.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I saw that today on Facebook. I'm kind of pumped about that.
Terry's a little bit of a wrestling fan. We'll have to fly him out here and
oh yeah,
take on the $1 Million Man. But anyway, if you're just tuning in to us, we're on live here at Crossover Radio with NASA Overall Athlete of the Year from 1998, which that's a few years ago. Actually, Terry, it's been 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to grasp. He's also NASA Hall of Famer, and one of the things that I have the distinct honor of is being inducted in the NASA Hall of Fame the same time that Terry did. And I actually got to enshrine him into the Hall of Fame, I guess is the word for it. But I show a lot of favoritism to Terry. I've been coaching him for 25 years of his career. And also, and a lot of people may not know this, Terry was my best man in my wedding. So that's how tight we are. But, one thing that it was hard for Terry to do, I think, and most of the people that I coach understand that I have basically two rules. Well, I have one rule. I'm in control. So,
yep.
But, it's an interesting thing, and Terry can tell you this. I mean, how much better have you been a lifter so you're not having to worry about dealing with the numbers?
Oh, I love it. And when I tell people that, they think I'm nuts that you call my numbers and I don't know what's on the bar. And they're like, how can you do that? I'm like, I let Danny know how I feel. He watches my list, and he calls the numbers, and I trust him, and he trusts me, and it's worked out well.
And I'll bet in 25 years of coaching Terry, and you can take the final deadlift out of the equation because that's always generally an all-or-nothing pull, and I don't put a lot of stock in that. But I'll bet Terry hadn't missed 5 lifts in 25 years. So,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, now if you put the final deadlift in it, there's probably missed all of them. So
I think I've maybe got one or two.
You've gotten a
third
few.
Attempt,
When you set the world record. And here's another unique thing about Terry, and he knows, and most of the people I coach know, I don't really, it's not, the numbers are not the biggest issue. I mean, certainly we have goals, and we want to accomplish those goals. But I will tell you that one of Terry's lifelong dream was to squat 700 pounds. And that's something that we chased for a number of years. And at 2003 in Phoenix, Arizona, Terry, at a body weight of 181 pounds, did a 700-pound squat. So,
wow.
Yep, that's one of the biggest pound-for-pound squats in the history of drug-free powerlifting. And when we went into the break, Terry, for the most part, as I mentioned, has been relatively injury-free, with the exception of the
soccer career.
The soccer career.
Yes.
From powerlifting, he has had very few injuries. Terry, how do you do that? I mean, you're squatted over 600 pounds for most of your career. You're 180 pounds now. You started your career 148. How have you managed to do that? How can you stay that injury free doing that kind of weight?
Well, I would like to say it's because I have been drug free my whole life, and I remember, Danny, it might have been you or it was Richard when we first started, preached it. Learn the fundamentals of the lift and do it correct, and you won't get hurt. And over all these years, I try to, stick with the fundamentals, bench, deadlift, and squat. And you're still getting me on breaking my hips on the squat.
Yep.
It's the fundamentals, and I would like to say 99% is because I have stayed drug free and have never taken, any kind of enhancing drugs or over-the-counter drugs or anything. I mean, my biggest thing may have been amino acids back in the 80s or 90s, and after a couple months of doing that, I felt no different. So really, it's been, protein and vitamins is my choice of supplements. And
yeah, that's pretty remarkable. And keep in mind that Terry started when anabolic steroids were at its height. I mean, back in the mid-'80s, the culture kind of changed in the late '80s and early '90s, but when Terry started powerlifting, anabolic steroids were pretty much accepted. And in fact, if you weren't taking some sort of enhancing, performance-enhancing supplement of some sort that wasn't over-the-counter, that you probably weren't powerlifting. And so it's very rare that someone that's been around the sport that long. I mean, most of them, most of the guys, Terry, you and I know, started in the last 20 years. They don't even, especially around NASA, they never been around it, never been exposed to it. But I know you've been in gyms where it's, and I have too, in gyms where there's a lot of it going on. So
and you saw a lot of them go to jail.
Yeah, there were a lot that did.
Yeah.
So you're, young age of 57. What's next? What is the goal? I mean, you've done just about everything you can do in the sport. What else is there left to accomplish for Terry?
I like to stay as strong as possible, and if the numbers are there, I'd like to squat 600 at 60 or maybe even more. Or we've talked before, I would really like to do 4 times my body weight at 181, which would be about a 728, 730. So, but the 600 at 60, and then in the way back of my mind, I would like to do 4 times my body weight. Since I did it at 148, I would like to do it at 181.
That's incredible. And for those of you who may not be familiar with powerlifting, you can't count on one hand how many lifters that are over the age of 60 or at 60 who have squatted 600 pounds, and you certainly can't do it drug-free. And Terry's, if he remains healthy, he should be able to accomplish that goal. And as history shows, he has been able to, and hopefully that'll be something that he's able to do over the horizon. But I will tell you this, and I don't generally keep this a secret. I've always felt more gratification out of seeing guys like yourself and girls like yourself do the things you do than I ever did as accomplishing things as a lifter, personally. And you've certainly made it fun for me over the last 30-something years to watch you lift. And certainly, Terry and I have traveled together in certain meets. I'm going to try to tell this story, but I don't know if I can get through it, and it's hard to do when you weren't there. But probably the funniest moment in my entire life was Terry, myself, Shelby, the late Shelby Jones, and you know where I'm going with this, Terry. So try to keep from. And Canyon Lindley, who's a retired professional wrestler. We are in Las Vegas for a big powerlifting meet, and we finished the competing for the weekend, and we've just eaten at, and I can't remember where we were, Terry. ESPN Zone. We're at ESPN Zone at New York, and we're driving down the strip in Las Vegas in a bright blue Dodge Charger, and Terry and Shelby are in the back seat, and Mr. Canyon Lindley is I'm driving, and Canyon's in the shotgun, and I look up in the rearview mirror and I see this string of scooters coming towards me. And I'm starting to chuckle a little bit, but I can't. This can't be true because it's about probably 12 or 15 scooters. They're all bright colors, neon, blue and orange and green, all these different colors, and they're and I don't want to make this sound, man, African American men with tank tops and gold chains and all this kind of bling on, right? And you'd think they'd be in something a little bit more masculine than a scooter. And I see them coming, and as we pull up to the red light, they all start pulling up next to us at one time. And Canyon is drinking water or Coke or something, and he looks over as they pull up, and he just spits Coke or water or whatever he had all over the front windshield. And I was already trying not to laugh, and we just could not control ourselves. And we laughed all the way back to the hotel. And then, of course, it even got funnier towards the end, because here comes one tailing up the end, and there's somebody riding on the back of one of those scooters, and it just made it funnier. So it's I reflect on some of the fun times of my life, and Terry's certainly been involved in that, and it's hard to tell that story and get across how funny it actually was. But we were telling that story later on in the evening when we went to the Strip, and we had people around us rolling over laughing. They weren't even there because I think we were laughing so hard.
Yes. And the story of the Chocolate Elvis when Shelby came out at the national banquet. That was a memory that I'll never forget. Oh, he was
Yep.
hilarious.
Yep. We've had a lot of fun times, and in fact, Terry, just what kind of guy Terry is. I know this isn't the Terry Perkins hour, but I certainly don't miss an opportunity. I was doing meets in 1998. I had to drive all the way up to Ann Arbor, Michigan by myself, and I made a phone call to Terry, and I said, "Could you come up to Ann Arbor and help me out with a powerlifting meet?" And he says, "How far is it?" And I said, "Oh, a couple, 3 hours." How far was it, Terry?
I think it was 6 hours.
6 hours. 6 hours, and on top of that, he broke his first date with his...
Yes, I didn't know if you knew that story or not.
Oh, yeah. Broke his first date with his now wife, Donna, who is also a very close friend. And tell your beautiful bride I said hi. And
yes, I'm not sure she believed me when I told her that you needed help and there was no one to help.
I know they did. She's like,
she
whatever.
Trying to get out of the date.
Yeah. And this wasn't just like a random date. You guys had been trying to go out for a while, right?
Yes, we couldn't. I mean, she had 3 children and I had 2, and with all the sports and everything, we just couldn't get a night to have a date, and we picked this Friday night going into Saturday, and you call me, Thursday, "I need your help. I don't have anybody to help me. Can you come up?" I'm like, "Sure."
Just 3 hours away.
I had to explain to her.
Yeah.
At that time she had no idea that I was a power lifter, and knew you from Adam.
You're gonna do
what?
what?
I tell her that I need to go help somebody in Michigan.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting. The drive up wasn't bad. The drive back was really, really bad.
Yeah, it was a pretty big meet too. Because I think did you go ahead back that night?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I was going to try to get a date the next night.
Try to make up for it. Taking flowers and candy.
I did that.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yes, I did.
Well, Terry, it's certainly it's certainly been refreshing to have you on the show here. Those of you listen to our show know what we try to do is try to make lives better, and I guarantee you there isn't too many people around that will go the extra mile to help people like Terry has through the years. And I might ask that you say a prayer for Terry, because he's recently found himself on the unemployment line after working for Keebler. How many years, Terry?
35 years.
35 years with Keebler. Got laid off and is unemployed at this point. I know he needs a kind of new line of work, but and that even gets a whole other story that that we spot and loaded. Most powerlifting meets, especially the big ones, ran 2 days. Well, the first day it was hard to find people to spot and load, put the weights on the bar, spot the lifters. And then the next day you had all the lightweight guys spot and loading for the heavyweight guys. And the heavyweight guys would never spot and load for the lightweight guys. It never happened. But, I mean, a few of them would, but very rarely. And so all of us were about 5 foot tall, and probably around 150, 160 pounds, spot and loading these big, 300-pound powerlifters. And Terry worked
on a good day.
Yeah, and Terry worked for Keebler, and he always got the throwbacks that he would, that would pull off the rack. So he'd bring those cookies to the meet, and that was kind of our fuel. So somebody took the gumption to name us the Keebler Crew.
I think that was Kobe.
So, and there's only a handful of us left, Terry, the Keebler Crew, man. I mean, there's not much left. But that was certainly fun, and we'd run over real quick. Because, it was quick food, right? Just stick it in your mouth, chew on it, and go back and load another bar. So,
that's all we could do. And still to this day, it's kind of that way. Some meets.
Yep. We had a meet out in Cincinnati in 1993. Where we had 260 lifters in one day. And Terry and I loaded every weight on the bar. We started on one platform. Terry and I spot and loaded the squats, and then we split up to two platforms, and Terry took one platform, I took the other platform, and we found help. And from probably 9 o'clock in the morning until about midnight, we spot and loaded every weight.
Yeah.
I don't even think we took a bathroom break a couple of times, but we just ate as we went. That was pretty grueling.
No breaks, really. I mean,
I'm not sure we could pull that off. That was 25 years ago, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
93, that would be 25 years ago. Yep. Wow, Terry. Time.
And I think the lifters would kill us at this point.
Yeah.
But back then, it was, everyone seemed to be okay with it, and stayed with the program. I'm not sure now that anyone would we start deadlift at 11?
Yeah, something like that. It was late. I think we were done at midnight or 1 o'clock, and and then we were and one of the rules we never did was we never waited till the next day to load the trailer up, because I couldn't find nobody the next day. They'd all be sleeping in. But all of y'all convinced me, let's just get up early in the morning to do it. And I figured, I know what's going to happen, so I'm going to be the only one doing it.
Everyone's going to leave.
But no, everybody showed up, and we got it loaded up the next morning. So, and that was one where the unique thing about that is the warm-up room was upstairs. So we had to take them up a fire escape, the weights and the platform and everything. So, glad we don't do that anymore.
Isn't that what they call the good old days?
That was, I don't know if I call them good, but they were definitely old days.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were good. That was the old days.
Terry, it's been a pleasure, man. If you'll hang tight, we're going to take a break. Terry Perkins, NASA Overall Athlete of the Year from 1998 and Powerlifting Hall of Famer, and my good friend. He's been live here on Crossover Radio, Radio with a Purpose. Going to take a quick time out. We're going to come back and close it out. And if you're listening live on Facebook or on crossoverradio.org or the Crossover app, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes on the OT with DBN.
Big day.
Right back.
City Life Community Church is the proud home of Crossover Radio. We are located at 6634 Northwest 36th Street, right here in the heart of Bethany. You can join us for worship at 11 a.m. each Sunday, and if you can't make it, you can hear us right here on Crossover Radio. You can also join us for worship and prayer each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. City Life exists to glorify God by making disciples and doing good in Jesus' name. We are here for Bethany and for the Northwest Oklahoma City communities. We're excited about the opportunity to serve you and your family.
Are you a local business or ministry? Are you looking to advertise on a station that's passionate about your community and safe for the whole family? Crossover Radio is currently seeking like-minded partners to help support their cause while we support yours. From commercial packages, show branding, and live remotes, we have what your business needs to get to the next level. Our mission is to bring impacting content through a Christian worldview, and we need your support. All donations made to Crossover Radio are 100% tax deductible, so why wait? Call us today at 405-494-0234. Again, that number is 405-494-0234. Crossover Radio, radio with a purpose.
Hi, this is Kelly, and I'm the Creative Director at West Metro Community Church. At West Metro, we hold strong to our core values of Jesus, mercy, family, and authenticity. I would like to personally invite you to join us at West Metro this Sunday morning at 10:45 for worship. You can get more information about us on our website at westmetro.org or find us on Facebook. We are located at 601 West Main Street in Yukon. Come join us and I'll save you a seat.
You're back, Crossover Radio, Radio with a Purpose. You're on live with the Overtime with DBN.
Big Nate.
And we've been talking to Terry Perkins, and when we went to break, I was ready to just shove Terry off, and he reminded me of something he's very proud of. And back in the early 90s, the Natural Athlete Strength Association did international lifting, and one of the places that Terry got an opportunity to travel to and compete was the Soviet Union. So, Terry, tell us how that came about.
Well, that was back when we were trying to get powerlifting to be a part of the Olympics, and we were going over there to compete with the Russians and kind of see, check the footing out to see what luck we would have. And we flew into Leningrad and we lifted there, and then took a train across the frozen tundra to Moscow and lifted in the Olympic Stadium.
Oh, wow.
In Moscow, which was something my entire life I will never forget. It was probably one of my proudest moments to be on that stage and lifting against a Russian lifter at my weight class and just, becoming friends and trading clothing and memorabilia with them. It was just something I'll never forget. The lifting part of it really wasn't even,
wasn't significant.
No, it wasn't significant. I think I beat my competitor, but at that point, it really didn't matter. It was the fact that we were there, and it was amazing.
Well,
So,
Terry's one of the very few. You can't count very many powerlifters for sure that have competed on Soviet soil, and Terry's been one of them. And one of the things that was customary for the Soviets at that time was for y'all to exchange gifts, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
What did your Soviet competitor, what did he give you?
He gave me a Army uniform and pins, and I think that was about it. But it was, it meant a lot to him, and it meant a lot to me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool when somebody gives up something like that they're certainly very special and close to them. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. You could tell that it wasn't something that was easy for them to give, but it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I still have it.
Did you go more than once, or did you just go one time?
No, I went once.
The one time, and that was what, 91?
91, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And talk about a plane ride with a plane full of power lifters on a 17-hour flight.
How many of y'all went over there and did that?
I'm going to say probably 20. Some of us plus, Mike and Richard and all the coaches.
Yeah,
and the interpreters and.
When Terry, just let people know, Terry's referring to Richard, which is Rich Peters. He's the president.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Natural Athlete Strength Association, and one of the coaches also, Mike Licciardi, who Mike is actually one of my coaching mentors and a longtime friend, and probably again with Terry, been on these events that we did across the country more than anybody that I know. But anyway, for Terry to be able to have that kind of memory and be able to compete internationally, and powerlifting isn't, if you get to the elite level, which Terry is, but if you get, nowadays it's so politically motivated that it's definitely hard to get on an international team and compete powerlifting-wise. There's only 0.7% of powerlifters ever get that opportunity to do so, so it's pretty cool to be able to accomplish that. And one thing that makes Terry unique is in powerlifting you have to have a no fear mentality. I mean, you can't be afraid. And I'm kind of segueing into a devotional here that I felt like last week I kind of came in unprepared for a devotional topic that we like to close out every week. And having Terry on, this kind of leads me into this, because this fearless mentality that you have to have as a powerlifter is something that people deal with in everyday life. And I take one of my own personal experiences. A little over 10 years ago, I was robbed at gunpoint. And thankfully I got through it and don't really have any effects from it. At the time I probably did a little bit, but I know that a lot of the people that work for me were concerned and asked me if I was scared that I was going to get shot or killed, and I said, to tell you the truth, I didn't, because I've always had this belief that God's in control and that as long as you have faith and you trust Him, that your life will be taken care of no matter what. And if that criminal would have taken my life that day, then I would be okay with it. That God had me, and that's the unique thing about when you have that relationship with God, that that your life is put in perspective. And in life, we all have certain things that we're afraid of, and whether those things are spiritual, emotional, physical, fear can creep in at any time and stir up our insecurities. I know that as humans, emotions get the best of us, but when it comes to reaching an encounter with God, why do we sometimes find fear on the path? Satan will do everything he can to get in the way of our spiritual confidence, and that includes using our feelings to distract the boldness and power of God's truth. Satan will whisper words of insecurity, saying, "You're not strong enough." He'll say, "You're not worthy. You don't deserve this, and you can't do this." And that's Satan talking to you. Don't let him get your emotions and get the best of you and your best relationship with God. And don't let fear take away your focus on the promise of His Word. Instead of listening to Satan's words, remember these words. It comes from 2 Samuel 22:3. My God is my rock, in whom I find protection. He is my shield, the power that saves me, and the place of my safety. He is my refuge and my Savior. Fear isn't in God's nature. In fact, fear cannot produce the holiness God wants to share with us, because He is incapable of doing so. God has better things in mind for you than to fear. He wants you to know that the depth of His love so completely that fear will have no place in your life. And I was looking at this, and what really spurred me to think about this even more was I was listening to a new song from Zach Williams on the radio earlier in the week, and it's called "Fear is a Liar." And there's some lyrics in this, and I'm not going to sit here and read you the entire lyrics, but I want to take a couple of words and the chorus to it, which says, "When he told you you're not good enough, when he told you you were not right, when he told you you were not strong enough to put up a good fight, when he told you you're not worthy, when he told you you're not loved, when he told you you're not beautiful, that you'll never be enough." So, fear is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Fear is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness. Cast your fear in the fire, because fear, he is a liar. And obviously, fear referring to there is Satan, that will stop you from happiness. And with that thought in mind, 1 John 4:18, this is actually from the Message, is the version that I'm reading this from. 1 John 4:18, there is no room in love for fear. Well-formed love banishes fear. Since fear is crippling, a fearful life, fear of death, fear of judgment is not one yet fully formed in love. So what the Scripture is saying is God's love will protect you and shield you from fear. So that's been our show today. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate Terry for being here. And Terry, I don't know what your plans as lifting goes. I know you're thinking about Ohio State meet in a few weeks. Wished I could be there with you, brother, but you've been around me long enough. You know the right things to do, and I wish you a blessed lifting day. I love you, man.
Well, I love you, Danny. Thank you.
All right.
Nate, go Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Crossover Radio, Radio with a Purpose. You've been on the OT with DB and
Big Nate.
And that's our show tonight. We'll see you next Monday night, 8 p.m. OT with DB and Big Nate. Crossover Radio.